right. We are live. Let me make sure I've got everything I need and that I want to make a link here. All right. Okay. We're good. I've got my image. Beautiful image from friend Tatiana. Thank you for sending that my way. I'm always looking for new images from people that I know. I don't want to have any copyright issues, so all the images that I've been using, I think except for the very, very first one that I did way back in March, have been from people who I know that have given me permission to use their beautiful photography. So I'm always looking for stuff that is interesting for drawing or painting, and please continue to send stuff in if you're out there and you want to recreate a specific image. Send it my way. So we are doing this beautiful sunset at Puerto Vallarta. We've got the ocean, we've got a pelican flying in the middle ground, mountains and sun in the background there. So you should be bringing up that image that you can find from the event page. You want that open in one window, and then you want to be able to see what I'm doing in the other window. And then, throw on some tunes, something that you like, that will inspire you to create. And we're just going to make some art for the next hour or so. I see Barb. How are you, Barbara? Nice to see you. Always nice to have friends that are joining me. I'm going to flip things around here so you can see my artwork as I work on it. Okay. That seems pretty good right there. Today we are using water-soluble oil pastels. I don't understand how they're able to do it, but through the magic of modern art technology, they make oil pastels that are water-soluble. This is fun because you can use water with a paintbrush and you can blend your colors right on your paper. So today I'm using watercolor paper. So if you are going to use water with your oil pastels today, and remember, only use them if it says they're water soluble. If you don't have water soluble oil pastels, this is not going to work. You could use an oil medium, however, with oil pastels. In fact, when I'm doing oil painting, sometimes I will use oil pastels and I will draw in some of my image first with the oil pastels, knowing that I can use my medium and it just melts right into the rest of my paints, the rest of my pigments. This stuff uses water, so that's going to be very interesting, I hope. I've got my watercolor paper. I'm good to go. What we're going to do is we are going to break this rectangle up into the basic shapes that make up our composition. So, we've got our water, which is going to be down here, and it's not exactly blue. In the darker areas, it's kind of like a dark gray blue, and then in the lighter areas, it's almost practically white. I'm gonna opt for a light blue, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna peel this paper off, and I'm just gonna use the whole side of it. Looks like it's about the bottom third or so, so I'm just gonna go like this. And there's my water. Let's go a little higher on this side. one way you can judge is you can just sort of put your finger there, and I can see it's going to go down to about there. So that's about right. I'm going to leave that for a second. I'm going to start to think about my sky, which you can see brightest in the middle, kind of where the sun is, pretty much right in the middle. And then I got a message. Oh, Jules is going to miss it today. That's okay, Jules. We'll see you next time. So what I want to do, I'm gonna do my whole sky. You can see it's sort of orange towards the horizon, and I just want to straighten that a little bit orange towards the horizon, and then as it goes up, it kind of yellows a little bit, and then it goes into more of like a blue, like a dirty blue. So I am gonna stick with that light blue up at the top. And I'm going to bring it down a good bit. Maybe like that. And then I don't have a true orange. I have this kind of reddish orange here. So I'm just going to use that. This is not to get it perfect. This is just to get it close. Get it a little bit closer to what you want it to be. So I already know I'm going to bring in this sort of coastal range of, you know, right in here, so I don't have to bring this all the ways over, but I'm just going to kind of come in like this, and maybe I will add just a little bit of yellow, especially as we come up into our sky here. Let's see. Okay. For now, I'm gonna go kind of like a purple with my mountain. So it doesn't go quite halfway. So right around here, it's gonna come up. It's kind of like three little humps there. Okay. Before I add in the sun, I think I do want to just like add some water to this, and I kind of wish I would have gotten a bigger brush, but let's just use what I have. So I'm just dipping my brush into some water, and let's start with our water here. You can see it just really starts to activate and blend, and then you can move it around, and that's fun. The great thing about the water, these pastels, is that I can go on top of this. Like my white will cover where I need it to cover, as long as it's not super, super dark. So, you know, just as always, I'm going to start kind of light. You can see I didn't try to saturate my colors too much. And especially since we are going with watercolors, we know that watercolors are meant to be transparent. You want to see the white of the paper through the color. If you want your color to have more intensity, or you want it to be more saturated with color, then that's when you don't use quite as much water. You use more pigment. But this is looking pretty nice. Like I said, I would prefer to have like a little bit of a bigger brush, I think. But just, you know, rather than running and getting one, I think I'm just going to continue like this, because it's really not taking me that long, and eventually you can see there are a lot of details that we have to add in. So we're going to get to that, but I want to blend this stuff out a little bit. And I think what we'll do is we'll just work our way up. So I'm going to do that purple little mountain range there. Doesn't take that much water, so I always knock a little bit of water off my brush. You don't want to end up with puddles on your page. That's when you know you're using too much water, is when you start to get puddles. But you know, it doesn't have to be completely smooth. I like the texture. You know, I don't mind that at all. You can always grab from one area where you have a lot and then bring it to another area where you don't have so much, and that works really nice. You know, we can get a little bit more interesting with the edge. Just, you know, make it a little more random, or, you know, a little more organic. Okay. Now we'll go sky, and then we'll start adding in some details. There we go. So far, I feel pretty good about this. Hey, Madelon, yeah. Madelon's wondering where Zora is. Zora is doing another project. She is doing a baking project right now, so I'm not exactly sure what she's making. She has urged me not to look, and so I'm not looking. And it's in the oven as we speak. So she's concentrating on that, and unfortunately is not going to be joining me today. But she's been having a very fun summer, all things considered. And I see Tara is there. Hello. Great to see you. Thanks for sharing a little piece of your day with me, folks. It really is kind of a special thing for me to know that, you know, people are watching that I know, and that we can just, like, even though we're not sharing the same space, we still can kind of share the same space a little bit just by, you know, watching and participating in the lesson. It's really, really cool. So thanks, guys. So you can see, like, in some areas, the oil pastel just does not want to loosen and sort of become active. Some of it just stays in the paper, so it's fine. We're gonna add more layers to this. This is just the start. That can sometimes be one of the most difficult parts about making art, is you want it to look great right away, and good art takes time. You know, I deal with students all the time, and they get so frustrated, and they just are, they want to have success right away, and unfortunately, I think everybody finds out sooner or later that that's just not how life works. Some people are blessed and are lucky to, you know, have this amazing talent in whatever realm or whatever field. But most of us have to really put a lot of work into it. And, you know, there's no getting around that. So that's why when you're making art, you should make every effort to enjoy what you're doing, you know, enjoy mixing colors, enjoy making marks. Otherwise, what are you doing? You know, why are you doing it? If you're not enjoying it, what's the use? But, you know, at the same time, like, it takes a little while to figure out how to make things work. So, you know, that's the other piece of it. It's like, you got to allow yourself to be a beginner, and, you know, sort of laugh off the setbacks, And if you keep at it, you will see you're going to get better. Okay, so we've got a very nice thing happening here. You know, it's rough, but we can roll with this. What I want to do now is we're going to go back into the water, and we're going to start making our dark areas. Like I said, they're like, it's almost black in some areas. I'm going to start in with like a dark blue for those dark areas. So I'm just going to start in the front, and you can see there's like this wave that's sort of broken up. There's these dark shapes, and I'm just drawing it kind of how I see it. It's kind of slanty. I see like frowny mouths, kind of like this. We can always go darker, right? It's no problem. You can see this is like a triangle over here, like your typical kind of wave, right? Or ripple. And so then you have these kind of horizontal ripples that are much smaller, like not as, you know, as densely, you know, not the shapes are going to be much smaller than these, right? You can see like back in here, you have another little triangle. And then you've got a bunch of these kind of shapes. You want them irregular. So sometimes you could have some that are really close together, and then other times you can have them real far apart. You don't want them to look like stripes or something like that, right? Excuse me. So here we go. Sometimes you have some bigger ones that are back here, but they're all very, very vertical at this point. Here there's like a lot of reflection happening and way fewer of these horizontal marks over in this area here, right? And then this kind of levels out around here, and there's kind of like a darker, it starts to get a little darker, so I'm just going to add some of this blue back in here. And then I'm going to add some water. So you can see it kind of layers nicely. Hi, Renee. Saw you snuck in there. Well, wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope you are having a wonderful day. And hope you are happy and healthy. All right. So you can kind of see how this is going, where this is going. I don't have to quite do this yet if I don't want to, but I'm just kind of having a good time. Yeah, this was kind of fun, you know. At first I was looking at, whenever you're looking at a blank piece of paper, it can be a little bit daunting. But I just dive in and I go one step at a time, having a process that makes sense, you know, like to me it makes sense. You divide up the rectangle of your page into the most basic shapes with color or lines, and then you break those up into more shapes, or you know, depending on what it is, it may not be exactly shapes, it may be a more of a texture, kind of like this, you know, the water is broken up into shapes, but is really creating a texture. It's one thing. Everything flows into everything else when it's water. That's why it's a little bit tricky. So once you divide things up into basic shapes, then you're kind of dividing up into darks and lights a little bit more. So now I'll come back in, I'll work more on that, but what I want to do, so right around here, there's like a real like dark kind of stripe that kind of comes through where these are really close together and bigger. Because if you think about it, what's happening is you've got the sun is back here, so that means any wave or any ripple is going to cast a shadow forward. So that's what these dark areas are. It's kind of like the face of the ripple. Okay, so now we've got that in there. So now we can start to, you know, like back here, it's like just a bunch of really close together little tiny marks. And then as you move forward, they're not quite as close together, and they're a little bit bigger. And then you move forward and you move forward, and they keep getting a little bit bigger and a little bit further apart from each other. I mean, if I really wanted to get this exact, then I would try to make it, you know, as close to what I see as I can. Right now, I'm doing a lot of like, you know, like I know there's this darker stripe back here, so I'm making that. But otherwise, I'm not really trying to make every single mark exactly what I see. I'm generalizing a little bit, just a little bit. I'm still basing it off the picture. So then it's just a matter of building up the density of these marks, having enough of them. On the back, a lot of this is going to probably blend a little bit, and that's fine. Okay. In the front, it's not exactly white, but there is this, like, you know, foamy area that does have a light edge. Otherwise, it's pretty dark also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with that blue, I guess, and kind of come in here. And we can always adjust colors, so I'm not like super concerned. Right now I'm more concerned about getting our shapes kind of right than I am about getting the colors right. That's how I like to work. We get the colors kind of close, get them in the right family, you know, kind of right, and then we go in and we will make it more the way it needs to be. Once we have the basics in there. Let's get it close first. Get the shapes. Because the great thing is once you have the shape right, then you know exactly where the color needs to go because the shape is right there. Always knock a little bit of that water off the end of your brush. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could have like a set of watercolors open and you could use those colors on the same painting. It's no problem. They mix well together, so that is an option for you. I'm going to try to avoid that just for the sake of simplicity. You can see now I'm starting to even fill in kind of between the darker marks. I'm starting to kind of see my wave in the front here. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so I've got another week of claymation. So that'll be fun. Last week worked out nicely, and it's a very relaxed camp as the instructor, because once you show them how to do it, then it's all on them. They build all the little characters and all the background and props and anything else they need. They build all that, and then they know how to do the claymation part, the animated part of it. So they get in there on the iPad and they do the animation, and all I have to do is just help them with whatever materials they might need, and then I just get to kick back and watch the creativity take hold. It's really fun. Yep, but that's going to be coming to an end very soon. I mean, I think we have till the end of August, and then school's going to be starting again, and that'll be the end of the summer camps. And I honestly am not exactly sure what my fall is going to be like. Usually I would be heading back to schools, teaching in the schools, but this year, at least in San Diego, the way things are with the pandemic, that is not happening. The schools are going to start online. I know that some of the schools are requesting video lessons, so I believe I will be doing some of that, but I don't know that it's too many. I don't know that there are too many of them that are going to opt to do that, in which case I'm not really sure how much work there will be for me. But one door closes and another opens, and we shall see what the future holds. It's anybody's guess. Yeah, the way this year's been going, it's anybody's guess. All right. We're going to get back into the sky in just a second. I just want to do a little more of this back area and let these things blend a little bit more. I can already tell I'm going to have to add probably some black back in here. And on some of these, I mean, all these that are blue are really much darker than that, so I will likely do that. But now that I know where the black needs to go, that should make things much easier for me. All right, into the sky. I'm going to start in with some white for our sun, because it is a very pale color there. It's going to be right in here. It's just going to be a dot. See if I can shape that a little bit with my paintbrush. Maybe a little too much water there. It's not a very good circle, is it? But thankfully, what I can do... Oh man, let's get the white off of there. Okay, let's just leave that for a second and let that dry. Is what I keep telling myself. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a second. On the right side, you can see there's like this purplish cloud that's coming in here. So I'm going to lay that in right in here. Just faint. Doesn't have to be super saturated at this point. And it's going to blend up. And I can see actually it kind of stretches. And it ends up over on this side too. Let's add a little bit of water and see what that does. Grab a paper towel or something. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to get some puddles. I just want this to blend a little bit more over here into what's there already. Hey, Jeremy Collins. Thanks for joining me, dude. All right. This is working. Okay. It's much more intense orange down in here. And I'm even going to throw a little, you can see there's like a little bit right on that edge there. And then kind of cuts across, like a piece of that cloud kind of cuts across there. So it swoops up a little more. Let's just add a little white to that. Okay, that needs a little work. Okay. Okay. A little bit more yellow going on in here. Okay, and then right above it, it's more of a pale yellow, so we gotta add some white. It's getting a little bright too. More white. Okay, let's do a little work with a paintbrush now. Here we go. Yeah, this is working, dude. I'm liking this. Hopefully yours is turning out great too. A little more water. Okay, so over up in here, it starts to get a little bit of purpley as well. I know it's a little bit confusing because we have our mountain there, but I think it's going to work out because we're going to go darker in our mountain. Maybe we'll start that right away. Let's get this purple in here. I mean, honestly, when it mixes with that yellow, it should be pretty much the right color. Because yellow and purple are complementary colors, so you end up with that kind of gray color there, which is what we're going for. Just in this little quad here, this little area. Let's make it blend a little bit more, so just a little more water here. And you can see I just blend out the edge. Okay, so we'll use a little black. It's darkest over here to the left. And on the bottom. And then it kind of blows out a little bit as we come over to the right. Okay. Let's see what that does. Like, I don't mind if that purple shows through at all. I like the purple. But we definitely need to distinguish between the land and the cloud behind. And we need to make this darker anyway. So, to me, it was a good move. It's kind of leaking down here a little bit. I don't want that. This red in here. All right. I like it. Let's see. What's next? Probably blend this just a little. All right, so we're kind of in this yellow band up in here. Almost whitish though, right? It's like pale. And then we get that kind of gray, light blue. So I'm gonna go light blue. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of orange or a little bit of this. Along with the yellow. You know, because the yellow is gonna make the red a little bit orange. And we're going for a gray, brown gray. So orange and blue are complementary colors. That's going to give you that right color. Now we just don't want to contaminate our lighter area here. So I'm going to start up in here. Let's see what we get. I think it needs to be a little bluer, but it's not bad. All right. Progress. You know, it's been 45 minutes, and that's what's going to happen. You spend 45 minutes on a piece of art, it's going to continue to evolve. You may not like every stage of the evolution, but it will evolve. And hopefully the idea is that you continue to improve it as you move forward by making decisions that are all about improving the piece and, you know, staying aware of what you're doing right? Not allowing yourself to be distracted by whatever things are on your mind or what you know. It's just so easy to start scribbling in the corner because you like the feeling of scribbling or making art or moving your brush, but you just don't know what you should be doing, or you've lost concentration. That's the thing. You got to stay mindful the whole time. You got to, every decision that you make should be a conscious decision, because you should always be consciously trying to improve your piece. When you stop doing that, that's when the problems start. It's not bad. I need to really work on my transitions a little bit, but it's not bad. I also need to be careful. I don't want to brush too much in one area, or you start to mess up your paper. The paper starts to peel. Okay. So let's add a little bit of white into the sun again. Now I want to really darken my water, so I can see this is gonna come in like this. All these shapes are already here, so I can just quickly lay them in. Again, if some of that dark blue shows through, it's all right. And then this is going to stay that kind of bluish color because that's the white water there. I think this dark is really going to make a difference here for me. So, color that in. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find where your edge is on these oil pastels, but once you figure it out, you just go for it. It's going to be tight on time. Let's see if I can do it. Can I finish it? Generally, I'm not the type to rush it, but wouldn't that be cool if it looked pretty right on? And I got it done. We will try. Let's see what we can do. Honestly, I can see that there is a little red halo in the water there. I do think that this is a pretty cool method of working with the water and the oil, the water soluble oil pastels. This is super fun. And I think the possibilities of what you could do are pretty endless, as far as like, adding regular watercolors to it, or going back in with the oil pastels on top of something that's dry, or even I bet you could use watercolor pencils with it if you wanted to. This is turning out pretty nice. Let's see how it looks through the old viewfinder here. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. Every one is practice. Every one of these. In fact, if I go back and look at what I've done over the past few months that I've been doing this, I can see that I'm getting better. I can see the improvement. So this has been like really good exercise for me, because it's made me better at rendering what I see, which I think is important to be able to do. Especially if you're painting something and it's an actual thing that people are familiar with, then when it doesn't look right, they know that there's something about it that's not quite right. So it helps to really hone your powers of observation, really be able to see the shapes and not get confused by the fact that there are so many little shapes, for example. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Mine was good. Got to see some family. We have so many birthdays in July that we did a little July birthday celebration. Just my my little pod of folks that I've been hanging with, my brothers and their families, and my parents. Everybody's being careful. In fact, I wore a mask the whole time yesterday, except for when I was eating. Even though we were outside, I just, being around all these kids, they take our temperature every day, but you just never know. I really don't want to get this thing that's going around, and I especially don't want to spread it to anybody else. That would be a nightmare. I think I have so much more control with a paintbrush than I do with the oil pastels. It's kind of like drawing with a little piece of soap or something like that. It doesn't have like a really defined edge. Whereas, with the brush, I can use the tip of the brush and really make some fine marks. Yeah, I can't say that this is exactly done once I get these ripples in there, but I would say I'm going to get it to about 85% done. And maybe I'll have some more time this week and I'll try to finish it. Because I think I'm going to be just a little short on time. I mean, I want to do this thing proper justice, and I never liked, don't rush your work. That's when you make dumb mistakes. And, in something like this, you make a dumb mistake, and then suddenly you have hours of your work that, or, in this case, an hour of your work that could potentially be wasted because you can't make a correction. Most things can be corrected, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But if you try, then usually it does work out. A little bit of effort. Things have a way of coming together. I think back here I can almost just blend. You can see I just add a ripple if I need it. Just put another little horizontal with the pigment from one of the other ones. All right, home stretch. All right. I will try to do more, and I'll post it when it's done. I didn't even get to put my my pelican in there yet. Ah, rats. Pelican goes in last, guys. I'm gonna wait on that. Sorry to say, but our time is coming to an end. Okay, I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna try to continue working on it, making it look better and better. I will get the pelican in there. Sorry I was unable to do that. Let me flip things around here, and I can say goodbye. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you ended up with a beautiful piece of artwork. Hope you are doing great wherever you are. I'll be doing this again next Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you can join me again, spend a little part of your day with me, and hope you have a wonderful week. And I love you. Have a great day. Bye.